know how sometimes you feel like you're living this loop of a life? I know how much more powerful you are, magnetic you are, when you're creating from this integrated place. Not the nice guy and girl, the woman or man who's owning their dark and their light, and they're able to bring that fullness to their message in their marketing and how that moves people. I get it, because we fear the judgment of others. We fear being abandoned. We fear rejection. This is part 2 of Romanticizing Your Life. I realized as soon as I published the first video, which I will link in the description below, that we needed to have a bigger conversation. There's this energy of Mr. Nice Guy or being a good girl, right? And I find that energy comes through when you actually haven't accessed your darkness. Deep down, feeling either unseen, unheard, deep-seated rage, anger, and at some point, that's gonna blow up. The goal isn't to be the nice guy, the nice girl. The goal, I think, is to really tap into your rebellion. So rebelling against conforming, rebelling against being that nice girl, nice guy, and owning the fact that you have darkness, you have dark emotions, and being able to use and access this energy to bring you such power, such communication, such clarity, such depth, right? And that depth, that power, that clarity becomes magnetism in your brand, in your marketing, in your communication, in your energy as you enter a room, right? So instead of being the timid little nice girl or boy, learning to access the fullness of your being, which not only creates this magnetism, but just creates this inner roar, inner freedom for yourself, and you just feel on fire, aligned, connected, and like you're owning your voice, right? And how could you own your voice in your marketing, your content, and your brand if you're actually not fully owning your darkness and these deep-seated feelings that you are experiencing? You're only able to fully live and embrace your light to the degree that you're able to integrate your darkness. And I wanted to share with you a few steps of what you can do when these emotions come up. And I also wanted to share with you the way that I almost walk and talk myself through these instances, to do it with as much grace as possible, and to bring presence and awareness to the darkness just as much as we can bring it to the light. It started raining! So just as you learn way more from failure than you do from success, you are gonna learn so much more about yourself and gain the insights and the nuggets that you need to make forward momentum from your darkness than you are from your light. Often what happens, especially for us entrepreneur, creator types, we will try to instill a sense of control in our lives as soon as we start feeling some wobbly emotions, some dark emotions, and things like that. So control is basically a mind strategy to make you feel secure and safe, but it's actually, for the most part, an illusion, right? It's an illusion of safety. The mind isn't bad, but is it the best way for you to lead your life? Probably not, right? If you are a control freak, you are not going to be able to enjoy the fruits of such an amazing life, because your darkness will always be controlling you. while you think you have control over your darkness, it's actually having control over you. What do you do when these feelings come up? The first thing you want to do is stop yourself. Don't try to distract yourself. Put your phone down. Don't try to get busy. Don't try to control the situation. Just stop. Pause, take a beat, and then take a moment to feel the feelings. Where are they showing up in your body? What is the feeling? What are these feelings trying to say to you? And really just sit with that for a moment, right? And then what I want you to do is separate out these feelings with any meaning or beliefs of possibility that you have for yourself, right? So often what entrepreneurs do is we will have this bad feeling come up and then say, and then it will blow up into this big thing of, oh, now all my dreams aren't possible. Oh, now I'm not going to be able to achieve this thing that I want to do. Now I am just a failure. And this is the thought process that you need to stop, the mind chatter that you need to stop in its tracks, right? And I've actually set in place a different reframe around this. So whenever I'm experiencing a big emotion, now I'm able to separate them out and say, I'm feeling this way, and I know that this is the reality I'm still moving towards and creating for myself and for my business, right? So I first separate them out, and then the reframe I've set around that is to tell myself, because of this coming up, all of my dreams, all of my desires, all of my ideas are coming to fruition. So because it is coming up, it's all possible. Because it is coming up, it's all still happening. Dark emotions are not a mind matter. And so in that pause, in that stop that you're taking, you're allowing your energy to drop from your mind into the body where most of our emotions are stored, right? So often we're storing emotions from a while ago in our past, and they'll come up in different moments of our life when we're ready to process them, when we're ready to look at them and integrate what had happened to us in those situations. But just as we bring presence and awareness to romanticizing the sweet moments in our lives, I want you to start to be able to practice bringing that same presence and awareness to your dark emotions and moments that feel heavier. So how can you bring love and even some joy into that moment when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling angsty, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling exhausted, when you're overwhelmed, when you're scared? How can you bring more presence and awareness to that situation? Part of the surrendering process of getting out of the mind, dropping into the body, and actually being able to access these emotions is this softening. You need to be able to soften yourself. And I did share a little bit about that in part 1 of the Romanticizing of Your Life video, but I wanted to speak to that specifically now for the darkness, right? So here are some things that I like to do for myself. The first thing I like to do is speak it out loud. So whether that's to your partner, a trusted friend, a therapist, your coach, something like that, you want to be able to speak it. Because if you just keep it swirling around inside of you, this is where shame grows, right? Like Brene Brown says that. So speak it first. And then I like to write it. So start writing with it. Write out on paper, you can write it in content if you want, on your phone, it doesn't matter, but just start writing with these feelings, getting them out of your system, right? And you're gonna notice some dots being connected, you're gonna notice some dissolving of this energy. So first speak it, and then write it, or you can write it and then speak it, whatever, works best for you. And then I like to move it, right? So maybe there's some movement that will help you. Go on a light walk, Maybe do a little dance, do a light stretch, lift some weights, right? Get some movement in there to move your body, and then start moving those emotions. And this will also help you get out of the mind and be able to access what it is these emotions are trying to tell you. Often I find it's this expectation versus reality thing that is what challenges you in these darker emotions, right? So maybe you had a certain expectation for a situation and then reality came in and it was so different. Your expectation isn't matching reality, and this can create a disconnect, which allows these darker emotions to come through. If you really think about it, 50% of the emotional guidance scale is these heavier, darker emotions. 50% is light emotions, right? And if you're just trying to live in 50% of that, you're really only living 50% of life, right? And that can be so two-dimensional and boring. I wanted to bring that fire and the power around emotions for you here so you can fully own your voice, first of all in your personal life, and then let that overflow into your brand, your content, and your marketing, right? Because I know how much more powerful you are and magnetic you are when you're creating from this integrated place. Not the nice guy and girl, the woman or man who's owning their dark and their light, and they're able to bring that fullness to their message in their marketing and how that moves people. I get it, because we fear the judgment of others. We fear being abandoned. We fear rejection, right? And we think by being the fullness of ourselves that those things are going to happen. Oftentimes, when you are being your full self, you attract in the types of people that are aligned and like-minded to you. The moment you start owning it, those people do fall away because it's scary for them. They are not ready to own their full self. But you start to build a community of like-minded people who are ready and already owning their full self as well. You think that avoiding this feeling will make it go away, but it's not the case. All it's doing is prolonging that feeling in your life and magnetizing or multiplying that feeling until you're able to finally look at it, right? But the reason I wanted to share this video with you was to give you that permission slip to say you don't have to live with these feelings in your life. If you have a feeling that either is always there and you don't like it, or it's a reoccurring feeling that you've had in your life, this is your sign that you do not need to put up with it any longer. Take a moment, pause, sit with it, access what it's trying to tell you, and then make those arrangements accordingly. You know how sometimes you feel like you're living this loop of a life and the same things keep happening over and over again? You don't have to live with that reality either. It can be like this. A continual increase. It doesn't have to be like this. If you're having this type of reality and feeling so blah about it, or feeling like there's more to life than that, you're right, there is. We talked about how vision and identity are so connected, right? And emotions is the next piece of mastery around this. Your vision is a feeling at the root of it, right? It's not even tangibles, it's not even specific things. At the root of your vision, it's feelings and emotions, right? So the more you're able to navigate the darkness and like the storms of your life, the more you're able to actually connect with the fullness of your vision and experience all of it. Life isn't just positivity. Life isn't just everything is going amazing. Life is the full spectrum of reality. I challenge you to sit with them and really understand what they're trying to tell you, right? Because this is where your deepest insights and deepest clarity are going to come from. They'll give you the roadmap for where to take your business next, what parts of your life and business aren't serving you, how your message wants to evolve and deepen and expand, how you need to elevate your needs, how you're communicating your needs, and how your standards need to elevate with that, what new boundaries you need to put in place for yourself, how you want to simply run your energy in your life, and what things you are being called towards, right? And if you were just feeling amazing all the time, you wouldn't have those insights, right? So in this emotional soup is where you could actually learn the most about yourself and start to build in a deeper sense of fulfillment and satisfaction and joy and inevitably success and prosperity as well. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with all these feelings I've been moving with, and I'm excited for you to start moving with your emotions in a more intentional way so you can get the most out of life, build an epic business, bring the fullness of your voice to your brand and your messaging, and feel a deeper sense of freedom and fulfillment within all of it.